Hello, welcome to Dead People News. I'm your host, Leighton Chick, and tonight we have a very special guest coming in and talking to us about his very significant life. Please make welcome Walter Ernest Brown. Tell us a little bit about your early life and what it was like growing up. I was the oldest son of Sidney Francis Brown Miller and his wife Agnes Mary Nee Carney. I was born and brought up in New Norfolk, and on leaving school I worked as a grocer in Hobart until 1911 and at Petersham, New South Wales until World War I. We didn't have much money, so I had to make the use of what I got. I didn't really want to become a grocer, but nor did I want to follow my father's footsteps in becoming a miller. Why is it that you enlisted to become part of World War I? As a child, I was very adventurous, and when I saw the enrolment signs around the streets, the law of adventure took over, as well as, being the older brother, a sense of duty. I always wanted to get out of being a grocer, and this would have been the best opportunity for me. When I told my parents, they were both shocked and confused, but when they saw that I'll be okay, they started to relax a little. You first started off as a light horseman, but later you wanted to get into the Western Front and to the action. Why is that? I guess I had a different opinion on how to fight the opposition. My idea of fighting the enemy would not have been arguing with some great odours, stubborn beasts of burden. I wanted to change the way we went about tactics, and move onto the Western Front was how I thought I could voice my opinions. By late 1916, you found yourself in France in AFB 1. That's where you met Hughes. Explain how your behaviours rubbed off on each other in a positive way. Yeah, my thirst for adventure really rubbed off on him, and his will to never give up really pushed me hard. Although we were parted when he moved to 2 AFB, his actions were still with me. I always carried his determination and grit to do anything with me, even at the hardest times. What was it like in France? It was hard at times. It reminded me of home just a bit by the way we had to deal with what we got. All trenches was dug in zigzag patterns. The section facing the enemy line was known as fire trench. The zigzags, intended to keep shell fragments from spreading very far, were called traverses. All along the line were strong points, sometimes built of concrete, where machine guns were placed. It was certainly different than the training in Egypt. The company to which you were attached carried out a minor operation during the trenches at night, which ended up being in a capture of a small enemy trench. What was your job in that? I had to creep out along the shallow trench and make a dash towards the post. An enemy machine gun opened fire from another trench and I was forced to take cover. Later again, I dashed forward and reached my objective. With a Mills grenade in my hand, I stood at the door of the dugout, called on the occupants to surrender. One of the enemy rushed out, a scuffle ensued, and I knocked him down with my fist. How did you contact back home? Each week we got to write back home and send anything from buttons and matchboxes, silk mesh and sometimes biscuits. Then there was a designated person that went to the post office, and then the letters were delivered by boat. Sometimes the letters would take up to 2 weeks to arrive to the loved ones, and then they would generally write back. You won many medals during your life. What were they and how significant were they to you? My most significant medal for me would have to be my Victorian Cross. I received this from His Majesty the King on August 17th, 1918. I received this award for most conspicuous bravery and determination, something I learned off Hughes, when with an advance party from my battalion which was going into the line of relief. You partook in a lot of war. After war, did you suffer from any disorders or traumas? For a while, but one night there was a storm and thunder clapped. The loud noise frightened me and I was never the same again. I suffered from PTSD right up until my death. It was hard. I couldn't achieve many things I wanted to, but I pushed on. I found that everything Hughes had pushed into me carried out throughout life. I hear you going to Singapore in a couple of days' time. What have you heard from others that happens in Singapore? Yeah, a lot of battalions have entered Singapore and lots haven't made it out. whether it be that they've been captured or killed during battle. I have this gut feeling that my battalion will suffer the same fate. We need to collect hand grenades for battle, then the following morning, and most likely, get captured. That's how I presume we'll die. That concludes our show for tonight. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and a special thanks to Walter Ernest Brown coming in and talking to us. Until next time, good night. You partaked in a long period of war.